I'm working on it now, so just keep
I know
talking
you are.
crazy.
Don't say that again.
I think you should say it more. I think you should steer into it, as they say.
I do
do not think so.
No.
Welcome to Practical Shooting After Dark. My name is Ben. We're here to talk about shooting. On deck tonight, Mr. Kim.
Hello.
Mr. Park.
Korean brother. Hello.
And Mr. Hoppy Cakes.
Hi.
Hi. So, you guys know the rules. Everybody comes here with a topic, something they want to talk about. If you can't remember a topic, Joel will assign one to you. Which is what happened. What happened to me today.
Maybe happened once or twice.
Fuck. Yeah, so anyway, that's what's going on. Who'd like to go first? Who wants to talk about the things?
I can start off.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes.
That's just what I needed is Mr. Kim.
Yes. So basically, all of us were there at the summit, PSTG summit. A lot of people came, and everybody, like instructors, taught a block. And my block was a visualization and execution. And I got a lot of good feedbacks from the people who took, and I just wanted to share one of them. So this one was like the most best feedback from everybody. So in the walkthrough process, there's many things to check, but one of the things I taught at the summit was to, especially when you are entering a position, when you're entering a target that's not super risky, something that you shouldn't like stop then shoot, but more of a shoot while entering the position. In that kind of case, in the walkthrough, I told people to use their arms. So basically in the walkthrough, everybody have their arms up without a gun. But when the target, especially if it's like a wall, you can't see the target, or even if you see the target, a lot of people think in terms of gun up, but I don't like that. I tell people think in terms of tracking the A zone as you come into the position. So about a full step before, you should definitely have the gun up, but actually tracking the A zone. And in the walkthrough, you can kind of make that happen even better. Use your arm to actually align your arms with the target. If it's a vision barrier, you can see the spot whenever the target comes out of that wall, your arms should be aligned with the A zone. So I see a lot of times people will have the gun up as they enter a position, but it was not aligned with the A zone. So they would reposition their gun back to the target, which costs time. And if you're not patient enough, a lot of people shoot Charlies that way too. So in the walkthrough, use your arm position, arm angle to actually have the target and the arms aligned as soon as the target was coming up. So you can step back, and even though there was a vision barrier in between the target, you should be aiming through the vision barrier, properly tracking the A zone. So in theory, now you can shoot as soon as the target comes out, rather than body settling, realigning, or readjusting the position of the gun, all that stuff that can be eliminated. This will give you better accuracy and better time when you enter positions.
Yeah. So you mean like if you have your gun up and you're aiming through the wall, if you were to torch one off through the wall, you'd be hitting the alpha on the target behind it.
Exactly.
Like what you mean? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Very good advice.
Thank you.
Yes. Oh, and if you want to see that whole block, training group members, that's going to get posted to Practical Shooting Training Group, because I have your block recorded, Mr. Kim. So, if people want to see more, I think it's a fairly substantial amount of footage I got.
I was going to say, not just Kim's. I think we got almost everyone's blocks recorded.
I know that I have 6 sitting on our server ready to go. And Mr. Kim, your block is 37 minutes of footage that I recorded.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that'll get posted if people want to know more about that. All right, who wants to go next? Who'd like to talk about the stuff?
I think Matt has a... Oh, I thought you had a time-sensitive one, Matt.
It's still okay for now. So.
Hey, you got that evil grin on your face, Matt. Like, I don't even understand it.
It's not going to live up to the hype, I guarantee it.
Well, I don't know. You got my interest. Mine would be at This Week in Shooting. Teamed up with Hopkins and a bunch of our other friends and shot the Free State match, which is a Kansas section match at Hopkins Home Club this past weekend. And it was fun. I had a good time. The weather wasn't as hot as it could have been, which was good. But what's a fair way of saying it, Matt? They have a really balanced test of skills.
Yeah, so honestly, I think it's been the best free state to date over the last probably 5 or 6 years that the
I
club
agree.
started hosting it. A lot of that goes to Justin Bardwell. He's basically taking control and doing most of the work for the match. He had some people help him design the stages. Like there was headshots at 5 feet, open targets really close. There was fully open targets with no hardcover, no shoots or partials or anything at 40 yards.
Mm-hmm.
There was poppers at probably 25 yards. There was a swinger at probably 20 to 22 yards or something like that. And then there was like hoser targets that 5 yards away next to a target that was coming off that 40 yarder and then the 25-yard steel, and then you shoot a target at contact distance.
Hey, Matt.
Yeah.
So I watched Joel's footage of the match.
Yes.
And I thought the stages looked diverse in terms of challenges, like you're saying.
Yep.
They looked fun.
Yeah.
And they did not look like a nightmare to shoot with a low cap gun, which is saying something these days.
Yeah.
Because we know how stage design's gone.
So I actually didn't look at the match for a low cap at all. That's one thing I've tried to not do since I've been shooting high cap. So I don't try to like mix stage plans or anything like that. So I've actively not looked at low cap plans or kind of how the stages like lay out to low cap shooters through any of the matches I've shot all year. I think that could be a detriment to me, like if I was trying to like figure a low cap plan and a CO plan.
All right.
I
Well, I was
don't think
just trying to look at the match and be complimentary, but all right.
Dude, what do you want?
Fucker.
No, he's saying you did a nice job, is what he's saying.
God damn it.
Like
There was only one stage. Stage 1 was kind of dumb for a low cap, but otherwise it was like, yeah, the rest of the stage didn't really high cap,
also,
low
that
cap.
stage wasn't equitable between left and right-handed shooters.
I wasn't gonna say that, but no,
Well,
it
that's-
was not.
But
That's
1 out of 10,
dude,
I think
life
that's
is not equitable for lefties.
It was far biased to the right.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
But I agree with Matt. They have the other thing to praise Justin, their match director, a bit. I remember Justin asking me, I think 2 years ago, he asked me like, so what do you think? What did you think about the match? What would you like to see different? And he wasn't just like looking at his watch or checking out his phone while he asked me. He was actually really like interested. So it was that year, like the previous year, they'd had long shots. And the year that he asked me, they didn't have the long bay, didn't have the far shots. So I'm like, oh, I kind of missed the far shots you had the year before. I like that because I don't see that everywhere else. And then like when I saw him when I was walking the stage, he's like, hey, we brought those long shots back. Like that guy, he actually really cares. Like what he builds the match, what the competitors want, which frankly, I don't think all match management does that. So
Most do not.
I like that a lot because he actually cares. He actually takes that advice on board.
Yeah, no, well, I like, there's a few match directors I've met, like, this isn't most, but a few of them where they'll ask you what you think, they'll listen to what you say, and they're not going to get butthurt about it, right? Like, they'll talk to a bunch of people and then just listen to the feedback because I think they want their match to be better, and they understand that if they just read the bullshit on Facebook about, like, it was a great match, like, that's not really useful feedback in any way.
Right.
That nobody, like, people, I mean, even big a-holes like me, like they don't go on Facebook and like hash out like the particulars of a match because that's a bit rude, you know.
That's true. The other thing that's noteworthy that they do is lunch was free and they do T-shirts for free, just with your regular, no additional charge. Go ahead, Matt.
They actually talked to me about that. I'm like, just make it easier for the competitors and just increase the entry fee a little, you know? So you increase the entry fee $10, and then they've worked the shirt in over time, so that's already figured in there. I'm like, just increase the entry fee $10, cover lunch. Half the people won't even eat it or don't care, but they're not going to worry about a $10 extra entry fee. Like that's
Well, it was
not
like
that's not a factor.
It was like the Subway box at Joel's match at the Great Plains section.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do something like that, like it's a nice little something. Grab that. That's nice. I personally like that.
They had a taco bar, so
Well,
it was good. You could go up, make your own tacos, put as much or as little, and eat as much or as little as you wanted on it. So it was good.
That sounds like something I would actually eat at a match.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
it was like,
I
hey,
did
just have
too.
protein.
Kim,
Yep, exactly.
I've seen you stuff down pretty much anything.
At a match.
I don't know about at a match, but Kim is the least pickiest eater I've met in my life.
I eat a lot.
He likes
So yeah,
his food.
like some people piled up their plates and had like 4 tacos, and then some people had like just some beans and meat and cheese and stuff, and no taco shells. And some people had like 2 tacos, and then there was tons of food afterwards. So during the awards, people were making like nacho trays.
Yep.
And it was just really good. It was really nice. They had water on every stage. They had plenty of water extra.
Ice
It was
water.
cold.
Oh,
ice cold.
water. That's a different level.
It's a different level.
Yes.
That's like what I'm going to go to now. Like, if you're going to provide water, you got to have a cooler. And you know, an easy way to get a cooler on every stage is ask your volunteer ROs if they have a cooler. Then they have their cooler on the stage, and the match or club doesn't have to provide it. They bring it out. You give them water bottles and ice and fill it up, and everybody's super happy. No one got heat problems at all. It was really good.
Yeah. And while I'm giving so many compliments, I guess the other thing I like is the match T-shirt isn't like some garbage cheap cotton shirt. I don't know what it's made out of, but it feels more like the Under Armour type of like wicking material. So it feels lightweight, and it actually is something that I would want to wear on a hot day and not just some.
Exactly. So I use those for practice.
Yeah, they're comfortable.
It's a wicking material, so it wicks the sweat off and dries off in the wind and stuff. So they're actually very useful. I've been wearing them actually quite a bit recently.
Yeah, but I mean, it's actually nice stuff they throw in. It's not just some garbage you're like, oh, you shouldn't have, and then it ends up like getting turned into a gun cleaning rag or something. So
right.
Or tossed as soon as you get home. So anyway, I like the match. They had a good variety.
I know why you really like the match, Joel.
That's actually not why, Ben. I mean, that's always
What do you
fun.
think? What do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know.
Because
you got to shoot with all your
my friends. Yes, this is
what are you talking about?
I was going to say because Ben wasn't there was my favorite part, but that would be hurtful.
That wasn't a bad part. That
was everybody's favorite.
Probably, you fucking asshole.
We did have quite a baller squad. To keep dropping names, Henning was there also, which was fun. I hadn't shot with him before.
Yeah, he came all the way from Colorado, so
yeah. Yeah.
Well, I had a very nice trip as well, you dickheads.
You did.
I enjoyed it because
nice
you guys
scenery.
went there.
My time-sensitive thing is ready.
All right, let's go, Matt. What do you got?
All right, so kind of curtail on the Free State match. So you know how like you get hot and you want to get like electrolytes or some kind of like power drink or something into you, right? Just replace water, right?
Correct.
So I didn't find this. It was given to me at the end of the match. It's brilliant, I think. So you guys know those icicle things that you have that are like flavored, and you put them in the freezer and they freeze, and you kind of like eat them out of a tube.
Yep.
So they have these things called Squincher Squeeze. It's actually a freezer pop, like a flavored freezer pop with electrolytes in it. Dude, it was awesome. So just imagine drinking like an ice cold Gatorade, but even better. It's like a slushy. That's what this is.
You have my interest.
Dude, it's awesome.
Well, I already bought the fan you told me to buy. I might as well just buy these two.
Dude, I'm going to buy a pack and take them to Area 3 this weekend. I don't know when this will air, but I'm going to have a pack in the freezer in our hotel. So
we've got a couple podcasts up before this.
I think it drops next week. Well,
I'm going to stock them.
No, this drops week after next, Joel.
All right, just kidding.
Whatever.
Sorry.
So this is a Squincher Squeeze. You can find it in the freezer section. They have all different flavors like red, orange, green.
My favorite flavor is purple, Matt. Do we have purple?
Yeah, they have purple, I think.
That's what I need to know.
All right. Iowa section, I'll bring you a purple one.
Iowa section. I think I'm signed up for Revolver because I haven't picked a division yet.
Yeah, because people ask me, like, Ben's really going to shoot Revolver? And I'm like, oh, yeah, he really thinks it's coming back. He wants to try something new.
Oh, my God.
He wants to be the Revolver national champ.
Oh, my God.
But just something else to think about electrolytes. They don't have to come in Gatorade or something like that or a tablet. You can get Gatorades from a popsicle also. So
shoot me straight. How does match work with those things? So they're frozen.
Yeah.
Hold on. Why don't I just freeze my Gatorade?
Because it doesn't come in a nice handy tube that you can squeeze out then eat.
No.
Or you're gonna have to let it thaw out, then drink it like a regular unfrozen Gatorade.
I mean, that sounds more like what I would have to do.
Joel, what'd you have?
So it's you put it in the freezer overnight, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just wait for it to thaw out on match day?
No, so I took one out and I let it sit around for probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And now it's easy, like I could just push it up.
Okay.
take a nice little bite.
Ooh,
You
yum.
look like you're in heaven right now, Matt.
I know.
I'm green, jealous rage.
Just
over
imagine if it was 100 degrees out and you're sweating your ass off all day and drink like 3 gallons of water.
Mhm.
How much a icy electrolyte
It
freezer
doesn't
pop
sound
thing.
bad.
It was like the highlight of the day.
here.
After I was done shooting, just that I found it or heard about it. It was
Nope.
very neat.
I'll have to look those up.
He actually bought them for the ROs and handed them out during the match. So just imagine like being an RO. Like he passed them out to the ROs at the match. So seeing an
Nice.
ice cold freezer pop like at 2:00 in the afternoon after being outside all day, pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I topped that bin.
Okay. Watch me. So if maybe you saw the announcement on Facebook or wherever, but we've added Joel as an instructor for Practical Shooting Training Group, which is
Yay.
as nice as that slushy is, Matt. Adding Joel's even better.
This is
I'm
facts.
sure you'd agree.
Yeah.
Boom. All right. So what did you want me to talk about? Oh, so basically Joel's job, aside from doing feedbacks and making content, what I really want Joel to do is anchor a new podcast. What do you guys say?
Tell me more.
I like it.
So it was centered around here's the concept is we center this podcast around training group content. So it has something like to talk about every week, and then pull on like training group members and instructors and shit like that and talk with them. And then as the custom with this sort of a podcast, it'd be like partially paywalled and partially not. So it'd be like half public, half not. I don't know how we'll break it up, but it'll be something like that. Does that sound like something you might be interested in, Matt?
I do. So what kind of like what's a example of a topic or something you guys would discuss in that?
Well, I mean, Ben and I were
Right.
talking about this earlier.
Let me tell up my concept, Joel.
Fine.
Fine.
Go.
All right. Well, so we're gonna make it more professional with like intro music and bumpers and do editing and stuff, which that's already like way outside of anything I'm interested in doing. So that's why we need Joel to do this. We need to get Joel to do my job for me. So we'll do that, and then I think that like imagine if Joel wears 2 hats during the podcast. So there's like Joel, the news anchor, where he talks about all the shit that's going on in training group that week. Maybe there's an interesting thread and you have a panel and they kind of run that down and talk about what's going on. Or Mr. Kim posted an amazing video. And we need to have him on to talk about that and why that's important. Okay, something like that. And then the second hat is, got the brain freeze going on, Matt. That's a point. You idiot. What an idiot. Oh my God. At least we know you got the required equipment there, buddy. Anyway, so then Joel's second hat he would wear is like Joel the investigative reporter. So maybe there's some like deep dive on a particular topic, like a half hour, 45 minutes sort of an interview with whoever, with somebody that did something really interesting, and that'd be like the second part of the podcast. So that's what it'd be like, weekly roundup and then deep dive on specific topics. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
So would you like deep dive on the doubles drill one day?
Absolutely could be.
Yeah, why not? We can deep dive on whatever we want.
Also, there's so much stuff going on in training group. It can almost be overwhelming if you're not on it regularly. So having highlights of really important stuff that you don't want to miss, I think would also be valuable for the membership as well.
Well, when it started, there was a lot less traffic, and there would be stuff would sit for maybe 5 or 6 days. So if I look on the right side of my browser, I see like the recent topics that were talked about. And as I roll down through here, if the topic is more than 1 day, or 1.5 days old right now, it's gone. It's buried. Like there's nothing on it doesn't like pop off to grab your attention. So that's way quicker than it used to be. And I think most of the members are not on that frequently. So anyway, that's what we're doing. So basically we have more members, we have more money. So we're going to take some of the money and give it to Joel, and he's going to make a better product for the members. That's the plan, as I understand it. So that's what's going on. Does that sound? Well, that sounds good to all of us, I think.
Yes.
Sounds genius to me, sir.
Well, it was my idea, so it's definitely genius.
Of course.
All right. Well, there you go. You guys want to talk about a question?
I would love to.
Yep.
All right. I took your class Wildcat Valley Rifle and Pistol Club in Brookston, Indiana in May. I did go there. I do remember that class. That was actually a really nice club. I really like the vibe there. Anyway, we talked a little about target focus versus set focus shooting while watching Practical Shooting After Dark, episode 105. The subject was talked about again. Once again was talking about seeing the target clearer after shooting CO and switching back to iron sights. I have a question about that. I shoot production in a 53 and a very nearsighted vision with an astigmatism. My eye doctor worked with me and came with a prescription with contacts that allowed decent distant vision and allows me to see my front sight fairly clear. I use a prescription as my everyday setup. I'm new to target focus shooting and have been trying to change a 40-plus-year-old habit of front sight focus. Would I be better off with a different prescription or should I leave it alone? Any feedback would be appreciated. Thanks. It's sounding to me like he has one eye set up to see close and one eye set up to see far, as is many people do now.
Mm-hmm.
That was the way I understood it also.
I'm not inclined to tell him to change his prescription right now. What do you say? Mr. Kim, what do you think?
Yeah, I think he should definitely try both. I think having the iron sight prescription so you can see the front sight clear is very helpful when you start developing indexing. So automatic sight alignment. So you want the gun present or after target transition, you want those sights aligned automatically for you. In training, I think in the beginning, if you have not a good index, you should use that to see what's happening. If the front sight was crooked, up high, to the right, blah, blah, blah. And then what I did is this. I shot with the iron sight prescription first 3 years of my life when I shot productions mainly. And then last year, I shot one production match, everything else carry optics. However, I shot with a red dot prescription for the production nationals too. So I was never able to see the front sight clear. However, I was shooting the same gun, production carry optics. So index was completely the same. My sights were aligned automatically. So I did not need to see front sight super sharp. I can still see the fiber color. So I was just using the fiber to, in a very tough shot, I was using the fiber to check if the fiber is more or less in the center of the rear notch. And I wasn't like able to shoot any shot. I shot every difficult targets too. So in terms of shooting target focus with iron sight, it's a very valid thing to do. And I recommend people to try it because it's just such a faster time, less amount of confirmation. So yeah, for training in the beginning, until you have very good index, use iron sight prescription, and then start maybe using regular prescription and shoot target focus all the way. That's my answer.
Well, that's a pretty good answer, I think.
Thank you.
You would know. Yeah. All right, guys. Anybody else have anything to add to that?
I don't think I can do any better.
Well, obviously.
Professor Kim does just seem to knock questions out of the park.
Hold on. Let me. Do you guys want to do another one? Because we can maybe sort that out.
Quit sliding around whatever you're sliding around, please.
It's my mouse. I'm grabbing questions, dickhead.
Whoa, that was aggressive.
Well, you were aggressing on me, man.
You deserved it.
Oh, I know.
All right. I'm not new on the Timmy side, but I am new on the gamer side and definitely willing to learn. Y'all talk shit regularly on the podcast regarding Virginia count. From an amateur standpoint, Virginia strikes me as a further stress inducer. Explain to me why, as a competitor, should I disregard Virginia count? Always loving the podcast. I'm not sure that we're telling you to disregard Virginia count.
Yeah, first off, you can't disregard it because only 1 year of classifiers are not Virginia count. Every other classifier year is Virginia count. So you're going to run into them somewhere no matter what.
And whether or not that stresses you out or not, I mean, that's up to you. I think Virginia count is not a thing for the international rule set anymore because it is the antithesis of freestyle, I think. So it's like basically that they stipulate how many rounds you're going to shoot at the target, and then you can shoot as much as you want beyond that, and they take the best ones that hit it or whatever. Like, what we don't like Virginia count because it's like it's not freestyle. It's like it takes away strategies from you that are legitimate. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like it is a legitimate strategy to shoot safety shots on challenging targets.
That's exactly where I was going to go to. Yeah. So if you're
That is
doing
a legitimate strategy.
that for this day, for that day, whatever that classifier is, where you draw and shoot the tux, like you only get 6 shots. It's a tuxedo target. You are not going to push it all. You're just going to watch the sights very carefully, grip the gun properly, and just gently press the trigger and watch the sights. Like it takes away. You're not going to send it. You're not going to do anything special. It just, I think it equates to boring shooting. Is the way I see it. Because like you said, it's just safety shots.
I agree. It's like you're shooting those types of targets like in third gear the whole time. If you're wise, that is.
Yeah.
If you're unwise, you'll shoot them differently.
Like I switch into just don't make a mistake mode, where you're not doing anything interesting. You're not leveraging your ability. You're not even potentially making a move or anything. It just hey, don't miss. Just make sure you get the target, get the points. And then you're like, okay, now I can go do something interesting.
Basically, like, just get out off the stage.
Yeah.
That's all it was. It's like, just get off that stage. That's it.
And one time, my heart was breaking to watch my friend shoot, and he had a malfunction. And he forgot how many shots he shot already. And yeah, there was definitely extra shot and penalty, so that was heartbreaking.
But yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, Virginia count adds penalties and takes away options. It seems, I mean, it makes sense when it's like, hey, we want to have El Presidente. So you put up 3 targets and it's like, okay, shoot them all twice, reload, shoot them all twice again. But if you shoot extra shots, we're not really going to know like where or which pass that was on or whatever. So then we just say you can't shoot extras. Like, I understand why that's a thing, but for high level competition, that doesn't make sense anymore. It
was a real disservice when they did the 18 classifiers to mimic stages, and then they made them Virginia count.
Yes.
So they had movement in the classifiers, but they made them Virginia count. It's like, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're not leveraging any ability. You're just going to shoot stuff straight up and not try to make a move or do anything interesting.
100%.
Yeah. So that's what we think about Virginia count. It's just like it's contrived. It's silly. Doesn't whatever. And it's fine for drills. Like we train on drills that way, sure, but in a big match, getting hammered with penalties over that bullshit, like no thanks.
And then for the one-handed shooting, I get it where you couldn't stack shots, but instead you could just draw and shoot all these targets weekend only. You know, it's like you wouldn't have to stack it and do multiple strings either.
It's a culture thing. So IPSC does, if they do a short stage and have you shoot strong hand only, that's all you can shoot on it, and it'll be a stage. Same with weekend only. They'll have you draw, like, pick up the gun and shoot weekend only. No, like in a stage, it won't be like a kind of like a prescribed drill that they do with certain targets.
Yeah.
Like at Europeans, what we shoot that strong hand only stage with that swinger? No, it wasn't a swinger, but it was like a pretty long field course with like 12 rounds or something on it, and it was strong hand only.
Yeah, I mean,
like third day or something, I think.
Your memory is better than mine, but yeah, the whole point is it's like it creates like basically if that's your idea of an interesting stage, like you don't know what's going on. There's more interesting ways to make stages and make challenges than it's like here's to shoot this with 6 rounds. Like what if I shoot extra? Penalty. It's like okay, and they're like we're gonna challenge you, and then
a second hit.
Yeah, and then it's like we're gonna challenge you, so now it's hardcover, and I'm like. You're like, fuck. This went from fun to not fun in such a hurry. Jesus. Oh my God. All right. Well, another wonderful podcast, and thank you so much for coming on, Professor Kim, Mr. Hoppy Cakes, and whatever the other guy's, Ned, Mr. Flanders.
You're gonna start that again.
Oh yeah, that's going. We're designing a jersey for you, Joel. I told Jenny I wanted to say Ned Flanders. Like it's going to say Ned on the front, Flanders on the back, and then on the collar it says GMJP. That's what I want. What do you say about that?
Well, that would be very kind. I probably won't ever wear it, but that would be great if
I
you
don't
want to
give a
send.
shit if you wear it. It's more for me than you.
That's probably true. You would probably turn up to a match wearing that, knowing my luck. So
Absolutely.
100%
Oh my
it would.
God.
100%.
100% I would wear that.
when,
Oh,
when you wore your Tim jersey at Great Plains, they're like, "Who's that Tim guy?" I'm like, "Oh, that's just like
they're like, he looks like a hobo.
I'm like, I thought the Ben Stoker guy was on your squad. I'm like, oh no, that's
COVID
Tim.
haircut.
Yeah, Ben couldn't make it. We have this Tim guy instead.
Yeah, Tim is. What gives me away is that Tim's bald.
Well, he's very nice also.
Yeah, true. He's a nice bald guy as opposed to some like raging a-hole with a half mullet. All right. Well, anyway, that's it for us. Listeners, if you have a question you'd like the answer to, go to bensticker.com. Send us your question. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, well, pretty soon you'll be listening to Training Group Live podcast,
Yeah,
anchored by somebody who cares. It's going to be amazing.
be awesome.